Mario! It's me, Mario! Hello!
Classic games.
Yeah, of course. I'm a big gamer too. I love fucking playing games and shit. But yeah, I mean, you have an English accent, of course, natural and normal, and then you have a bit more of like up and down, like it's a different region of England, and then you could go down to Scotland if you'd like. Have you ever been to Scotland, lad?
What about Ireland?
Have you seen the rolling hills? Well, you could go to Ireland as well. That's a bit more high pitch, and maybe, you know, there's a lot of different types of Irish accents, though. You know, you could go to Northern Ireland, where it's a bit more like tat 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 with the end of your sentences. And I'm sure there's somebody going at home like, that's inaccurate. Like, I don't research. I just do voices.
Off the ear.
Yeah, I just fuck around. Like, anybody who's like, technically they would pronounce that as this. I don't give a fuck. Hi, I'm Drew Dunn, and this is my golden hour.
Water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the 4 dear nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the fire deer attacked. Only Derek, master of all 4 elements, could stop those boys. But when Boston needed him most, he vanished into the enchanted golden deer forest.
Season 4.
Double clap means what? That was pretty emphatic, Frank. Thank you for the energy. So, let me preface as I start. Me and this young man to the right of me just met in person, like, for the first time, like, 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But I can tell we're both good guys.
I can tell already, yeah. I think that's the first thing you said to me is, hey, I'm a good guy.
I hope I'm not lying, man.
We'll find out.
I'm trying.
So far, so good.
So I was just saying this, but when I had Liam from the New Age Insiders up, I was like, yo, bro, I want to like kind of connect more to Boston comedy. I haven't done enough, and like I know there's stuff going on that I'm not really totally tapped into. And he was like, yeah, well, there's this guy, Will Noonan, who's pulling together these shows. You should go to one. And so me and my bestie showed up to Capo. And I saw this young man on my right performing, and I was dying laughing.
Yeah.
And I consider myself kind of a cynic when it comes to laughing. Like, are you the same way? Do you laugh at a bunch of shit, or do you not think a lot of shit's funny?
Not really. I mean, I can appreciate when stuff is funny, but a lot of times I go, oh, that's funny. Like, I don't.
You're
it's
not
hard
like,
to,
oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah, I have to really be in the moment watching the show for me to do it, because if not, I'm constantly just analyzing it. Even for like professional stand-up, like watching specials and stuff.
Yeah. So, what form of comedy do you think you get the most laughs out of?
I mean, stand-up comedy, in and of itself, is like it's such a unique art form where
it's ridiculous.
It's just you up there, so it's like you have the most risk on you, but at the same time, like compared to like sketch, if a sketch goes really well, it's up to 5 people to make it right, and all those 5 people kind of get that. But stand-up, it's just you. You have all the pressure, but then you get all of the reward yourself. That all of that laughter is
that
just
ego.
For you, that you created. Not necessarily the ego, but as much as just like, dude, it feels good. It feels good to make people laugh.
That's
it feels
awesome.
good to do well, and like no matter what you're doing. So yeah, man, it's that's what keeps you coming back. It's kind of like a drug. It's weird.
Dopamine hits.
Yeah, well, you get that laugh, and like all of a sudden I'll find myself just like in a bad mood. And I don't know why. And then I get on stage and I feel totally fine after. It's so weird.
Do you want to just, before we continue, just give a little preface of who you are and what you do?
Yeah. So my name's Drew Dunn. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've been performing for about 5.5 years now. I've been full-time for about the last 2. I live in New Hampshire, but yeah. Thanks, man. I live in New Hampshire, but I do the Boston comedy scene a ton because that's like the biggest scene in the area. But New England as a whole comedy scene is just like, it's crazy, and it's grown so much since I've started. It's nuts.
And when did you start?
I started January 2014. So I was in my senior year of college. I had just stopped playing baseball. Basically had a shoulder injury that I could choose to like redshirt for a year.
Was it labrum?
No, it was my tendons. I nothing like tore or anything. I switched from being a catcher to being a pitcher. So
pause. That one, Frank. You probably didn't catch it. I'm just trying.
Yeah. He's making a gay joke.
That was a gay joke.
Yeah, but me and my boyfriend, we switch off every night. So
okay, word. So you catch and pitch still.
Yeah, I still catch and pitch all the time.
Okay.
So I switched, and you use a whole different part of your arm. So I basically had parts of my arm getting sore that hadn't in a long time. Messed up my arm. I had the choice to take a year off and do like another year of school, get in even more debt, or just say fuck it and quit. And that's what I did and started doing stand-up.
You didn't graduate?
No, I did graduate. I stopped playing baseball. Okay. That was the hardest 6 months of school, though, was like finishing without playing baseball, because that was the only thing that like drove me to go to college in the first place. Yeah. And honestly, it's like, it sounds stupid, but it's like one of my biggest regrets is going to college. Like,
it might be one of mine too.
It sucks, man. Well, it's one of those things that you're just like, you're peer pressured into doing almost, you know, like,
yeah,
it's like, oh, you're going to be a loser if you don't go to college. Oh, you're not going to do anything if you don't go to college. You're going to do this. It's like, man, I would be doing exactly what I'm doing right now with about 5 to 6 figures less of debt sitting on my credit right now. Yeah.
And well, it's also hard to make a rational decision like that when you're 18. You don't really understand the importance of money.
For sure. Yeah. And again, it's almost, you're just like peer pressured into it. Nobody tells you. That's what you're supposed to do. It's what quote successful people do. But then you realize that you don't want to be one of those type of successful people. I never saw myself as I'm just going to get a 9 to 5, wear a shirt and tie every day, and come home, kiss my wife, make babies, and be happy. Like, that was never me, because it was always baseball, and then immediately became comedy.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But I think I realized probably in college when I went to Providence College.
Okay.
I probably realized when I was at PC, I was like, damn, I'm like not in the right spot right now.
Yeah, it's tough. And yeah, like I said, especially when I was in college, like realizing I wasn't going to use any of the stuff. Like, I went to school for business and marketing, and I definitely used some of that stuff, but
it's all natural anyway,
right? Yeah, you know how to market yourself, and most of the stuff that applies to a corporation doesn't necessarily apply to like an individual or an artist in that way. So
personal brand.
Yeah, you gotta just kind of innovate constantly and just make content that you like and hope that people like it too, I guess.
So when you had started gigging initially, we had just talked about it, but the first venue you were at was the Middle East.
Yeah, that was the first show I ever did.
So I threw a big show in the downstairs.
Okay.
Last summer.
Yeah. So this was in the upstairs.
It's in the cafe?
Yeah, it's in like the cafe bar area.
Yeah, which they still regulate. They still run that.
Yeah, they do, yeah. It went through a lull for a little bit, but yeah, I think it's definitely back. Yeah, man, it was one of those things that I didn't even know like what stand-up comedy was on like the local level. You know, I didn't really know anything. But I saw a buddy of mine in college start doing stand-up, and he was one of those dudes that I always thought was funny, but I never thought would do stand-up comedy. So I was in that place where I had just stopped baseball. I'd always thought about stand-up. It was always kind of a thing that I thought I could do. I was always kind of the funny kid. Like, I'm one of 7 kids in my family, so I was always like the funny brother cracking jokes. No, not actually. No, my parents just don't know.
New Hampshire people, man.
My parents just don't know that like antibiotics cancel out birth control, and just kept fucking ripping kids out.
Dead ass. You're the youngest of 7?
Second oldest of 7.
Okay, word.
Yeah.
What does the oldest do?
He works in Boston for a tech company.
Big corporate?
He's a software developer. He's a guy who like started his own businesses, and then now he works for a business. He's like a VP or some shit like that.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Are you I feel like you have to have kind of an entrepreneurial sense to be a stand-up comic. Do you pull that from anywhere?
For sure. I mean, like I said, I was just never going to be that 9 to 5 guy. I think I've always had that, like, not necessarily entrepreneurial, but definitely like, fuck the system. I don't want to be another number in the machine kind of deal.
I mean, like, does anyone else own businesses in your family?
My dad doesn't own a business, but he's always had that like side project that he works on, whether he's like, I'm working on this screenplay, or I'm making an app or something like that. Cause my dad's a software developer. My older brother is, my younger brother is. And then I have a brother who's like starting to become a lawyer and stuff like that. So I'm like kind of the black sheep in that way, where I'm just doing my own thing and everything. Man. No, they support me and everything, you know, like it's a good thing, but it's definitely different. Yeah, you definitely have to have an entrepreneurial mindset, especially today, because there's so many things you can constantly be doing. You know what I mean? Like, I could be Facebook living this as well, or vlogging.
We should Instagram live it, actually,
or like do all that kind of stuff. You know, it's.
Are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
That's the GOAT.
Yeah, he's a motivational guy.
Get off your ass! Get off your ass!
It's weird because, like, you know that you should get off your ass, But sometimes you just need somebody to yell that at you to make you like realize that you have to actually get off your ass.
Well, that was part of your bit, which I thought was hilarious. You're like, sometimes I'll like watch YouTube videos, get me pumped.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch another motivational speaker and she'll tell me to relax.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Which female were you?
I mean, I can't even remember the name, dude. It's one of those things where you just look up motivational videos, and I was just scrolling through and just was clicking on different ones just to try and get the juices flowing. And yeah, but no, it's always the extremes. It's always people screaming or people whispering. It's
I know there's no moderate.
Yeah.
Do you have any moderate motivational speakers? Do you know of any, Frank?
I don't think they're successful. They're probably out there, but they got like 15 subscribers on YouTube because nobody wants a guy in a monotone voice to just be like, "You can do it."
If you're consistent and you're kind and you work hard, you might make something of yourself.
Yeah, people are like, "Fuck that!" Scream at me, yell at me,
wake the fuck up,
or like play the violin in the background and whisper sweet nothings. It's one of the two.
Yeah, literally. Do you ever meditate?
Yeah, I actually started meditating probably about the beginning of this year. So I meditate like 10 minutes a day every day.
Is it working?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know what it's supposed to do, but it definitely makes me calmer because, I mean, I definitely have like not a temper, but like when I get mad, I get really fucking mad and I can't stop. Like I'll be sitting there going like, I don't want to be angry anymore, but I feel upset. So I just wanted to gain the ability to just control my brain regardless of what was going on. You know what I mean?
Where are you most pissed? Are you a pissed driver?
I'm definitely, I'm not pissed driving all the time.
Subaru, man.
I get pissed when people like are just stupid. Like when people are just ignorant.
Sounds like Jack.
Yeah, when people are just ignorant, dude, it makes me upset. and it's ignorance and like being a stubborn like ignorance, like when you're just dumb and stuck in your ways, you're not willing to take in information, like you're trying to talk to somebody, they're just yelling and talking over you. That stuff drives me nuts.
So you just hate people?
I like some people, but a lot of people suck. Yeah, it takes a lot to get me mad, but once I'm mad, it's a sight to be seen for sure.
It's game over.
Yeah.
So where do you develop most of your bit, like, and how do you work on it?
I mean, Capo is definitely like a great place to work on stuff. Yeah, I go there every month. Like that set you saw me do, most of that stuff was me doing it for the very first time. So I just go up there with ideas. That's such a good place because that's exactly what it's designed for. It's designed for comics who are working to go there, and newer comics too, to go do a set on a Monday night. For me, anytime, my mental state is if I'm not getting paid for the show, then I'm free to work on new material, try new things. It's okay to fail. And that's a big thing in stand-up comedy is like you have to be totally okay with bombing. Once you get over that hump, like if you go up afraid to bomb every single time, you're never going to get better. You're going to stick to the jokes that you know work, and you're never going to write anything new, or you're never going to take those chances that like the bit I do to open a lot where I pretend to do like announcers. You didn't hear it, but I pretend to do like
I think you did a Boston accent to start.
No, I think I did the Planet Earth dude.
Oh, yeah.
David Attenborough talking like this is real life.
Yeah.
That is so spot on. It's ridiculous. And your spin on it was you were people watching?
Yeah, that's how I do that a lot on my Instagram story where I'll just like see people and I'll just like zoom in on them and just start doing that voice and stuff like that. It's fun, man.
How did you develop that? Have you always had a sense for impression?
Not necessarily impressions. Like that's one that's like a voice. I used to do like a slightly different voice that was like more raspy. It was just like an old English guy. But then I wrote a bit that about my dog that led to me like doing that voice. So I've just kind of like developed it more and more. But that's one of those things that like
not to isolate you here. Sorry.
Hey, if I didn't,
It's the Drew Show.
It's me. It's just me. If you guys hear somebody talking, don't worry. It's just me here. Yeah, no, it's you have to be able to go up there and take risks. Like I didn't know how that was gonna go. I just have to go up there and be weird because that'll lead to something better down the road. So, yeah, it's one of the few like art forms that's like based on like live trial and error. You know what I mean? Like music, you develop it, then you put it out once it's polished. Comedy's the same thing, just everybody sees you developing it constantly. That's the only way to really get better.
And I think at least, and I know it wasn't the biggest crowd in the world, but I think people can sense that you're trying something out too.
For sure.
Have you ever had like you trying new material out and people are like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man?
Not really, because if something goes like poorly, you can kind of act in the moment and figure out how to like just say something funny
How
the
to
same way you
adapt.
would in conversation. You know, like if you bomb with we all bomb with our friends all the time. You're all just shooting the shit. You say something, people don't get it or they don't laugh, and then you say something and everybody moves on. You know, it's when you get caught up in the fact that it didn't go well, and a lot of that time is because it's unexpected or you're fearful of it happening. And then you're bombing. You're like, this isn't going well. And then everybody, like the crowd, can sense when you're struggling or when you're not comfortable, and they'll just be like, all right, well, we'll wait till the next guy. Yeah.
So, how have you been able to navigate through like venues and stuff around here?
Yeah. So
I don't know if that was totally general question, but
super general question. Thanks for asking. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, the good thing about comedy is outside of like the major clubs, which in Boston there's really only a handful of like clubs. In New England there's quite a few, but in Boston proper there's really like 3 full like stand-up comedy clubs. A lot of those other shows are run by comics. Like there's tons of shows 7 days a week, but a lot of them are run by comedians. So you go do open mics, you talk to people, you make friends, you get to know people in the community. The major clubs in Boston: Nick's Comedy Stop, Laugh Boston, which is like the national headliner club that a lot of the bigger names come through, and then you have the Comedy Studio in Somerville. Those are the major ones, like in the Boston proper area.
And how has this developed since my only real sense of Boston comedy? One, there are so many major comedians that have come out of this city. It's ridiculous. But my only real sense of like the Boston comedy scene is whenever like Joe Rogan has like these like 65-year-old dudes like, hey, remember us in our heyday, man?
Yeah, like Lenny Clark. I just worked with like Steve Sweeney last weekend. We were at like a resort down the Cape, the Seacrest Beach Hotel.
How was that?
It was great, man. It was like 300 or 400 people a night because people go out to see those guys. They sell tickets like crazy in New England. You know,
what's the demographic of the audience?
Pretty mixed now that they've both done Rogan. Like you get some younger people come out to see him because they want to, see somebody that was on their favorite
Theo
podcast.
Von,
oh yeah,
because I had seen him on Rogan.
Yeah, Theo Von's great. He's super funny.
He was awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Who are your favorites?
I love Bill Burr, Brian Regan. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's one of those guys that like every comedian knows, but a lot of regular people don't. He's never done like a podcast or movies or a show or anything like that.
That's how Bill Burr started though too, right? He's like the comedian's comedian.
For sure. I mean, but this guy's like clean, like no swears in his act or anything like that, but he's so funny. He's like one of the first comics I ever saw. Love Louis' material. I love
Frank loves Louis C.K. too.
Yeah. No,
if you kill that fucking bug.
Yeah, I mean you can say whatever you want about, his personal life and everything like that. But you can't take away somebody's like work. You can still you can be like, yeah, that's not great what he did, and then go, but that's like still the best written joke I've ever heard. Like
it's kind of like that R. Kelly. It's like damn, those music.
Michael Jackson, man. I mean, yeah,
the music's beautiful.
Like how many people watched that documentary and didn't delete a single Michael Jackson song off their playlist? Probably most, right? I don't think a lot of people boycotted them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, I think in what the internet's provided, and this is also going to sound totally general, but these people who have massive platforms are just humans. Like,
for sure,
everyone has issues, man.
Well, I think the social media, definitely revealed that more than ever. Because before, celebrities felt like something different, right? It felt like this, like when you were a kid, you'd see a celebrity, it felt like a different person, like an unattainable.
Yeah,
kind
they
of thing.
Build careers off mystery.
Yeah, exactly. And now anybody can just become famous. I mean, quote famous. I mean, I don't even know if you get real famous anymore. Like you can have 1 million followers on Instagram and you can still go to the supermarket without anybody stopping you,
I know. And is it weird for you that the most popular comedy in terms of commercial comedy right now is like Instagram comedy and sketches, because it's less of I would say it's a lesser art form?
It's definitely less production, but some of those things make me laugh harder than like a Comedy Central sketch or an SNL sketch, because they don't have to be well thought out or politically analyzed or like weighed in by like practices and all that kind of stuff. You can just go say what you want, what you think is funny, or go make a quick, 1 minute long sketch.
Just slam a gallon of milk on a supermarket floor, explode everywhere.
For sure. And that stuff is so funny, man. And I don't know, all that like consumer made content, like that's king right now. So that's what a lot of comedians are trying to balance, is like, how do I work towards, getting into the quote industry and everything like that, so you can make some money, but at the same time gaining that following that's going to follow you no matter what. Because that's the real goal, no matter what. Let's say I'm lucky enough to like one day get like a sitcom, right?
That'd be fire.
Yeah, that'd be sick, right? But then let's say my sitcom gets canceled. If I'm super duper lucky after like 3 to 5 seasons, something like that, then you're left with either whatever the industry's going to give you, or if you kept doing stand-up and kept working, whatever following that you have and people looking at you to continue making content for them and continuing that following. Because if not, you just kind of drop off the face of the earth, and then you're relying on a casting director or one person giving you the green light and allowing you to have a career. And I think that's the great thing with social media, is you're not relying on those gatekeepers as much.
Have you done any movies or tried to do anything scripted?
I've done like nothing major. I've done like extra work in a few big movies. Like I was in the background of Central Intelligence, that Rock and Kevin Hart movie.
Can I tell you something crazy?
What?
I was too.
You were really?
Yeah, bro.
No kidding.
Yo,
At the Lynn High School.
Yeah, you were in the scene?
Yeah.
Wait, are you in the cut?
Yeah, I'm in it like 3 different times.
Bro,
yeah.
what if we're in the same shot? Oh my God. Crazy. What the fuck? You're right. When they were throwing like the fat Samoan dude out who was naked.
Yeah. Like for 2 days, we were there for like 16-hour days for a 1-minute scene.
Bro,
yeah.
we probably met.
We may have met.
That is wild. I want to make sure it's still going. I got to pull this up. Dude, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
I knew you looked familiar, man.
Yeah, you saw me in the background for 0.5 seconds.
I saw you right next to that kid's ass.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Frank, do you want to come and watch? Yeah, I remember these kids.
Yeah, those kids.
I had read for one of these. I had read for this dude's part.
Oh, okay.
It seemed like this was his like first big gig. His like parents were on set.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and those guys were making. The rumor was those guys were making just stupid money to do that small little scene.
Oh wait, no, we want the.
So that's me right there.
Where?
Go back a sec. Right there, in the jeans and the blue shirt.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right in the jeans and blue shirt in the front.
Wait, let me.
I wasn't even supposed to sit there. That was supposed to be like all the union guys sitting that close.
Dude.
All the other non-union guys were supposed to go to the back, and I just sat down and nobody moved me. I just sat right next to the photographers, which were like.
Dude, I thought during the time that I thought that principal was so hilarious.
Yeah, dude.
He was like, if I was
great.
medically able.
Yeah. But it was kind of cool to see the process, because that was like one of the first times I saw like the process of making a movie like that.
Are you in this? Look, there I am.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
That's dope.
So where were you sitting in comparison to me?
It's hard to tell, because we went back and forth on either side, so I don't even know where they got that shot from.
That shit was...
There's one where I'm like right behind Kevin Hart. Yeah, I'm right there again.
Look
right
at
there
that.
in the bottom right corner.
That's Kevin Hart, yeah. So he had a stunt double at the time doing backflips.
So I thought I was going to meet him, because you know how they kept everybody so separated, right?
Yeah.
So they called up my group to like go and get ready for another scene. So we were standing in like that hallway right outside the gym, and and then they were just like, oh, we don't need you guys yet. They sent us back down, and I was like, I'm just gonna kind of take my time walking. And then my group goes away, and I was just kind of standing in the hallway, and I was just looking around. I turn and I see him like walk out to the edge, and I was like, oh man, this is crazy. Like, I'm just gonna go walk up and shake his hand and be like, hey man, you're great. Like, I didn't want to do anything crazy, you know. I'm not gonna go like, here's a joke, man. Like, can I open for you? Like, I'm not gonna do anything stupid like that. So I start walking towards him, dude. I'm getting all nervous. Like, my hands are getting clammy. I get like 2 steps away from him, and the guy like turns his head just a little bit, and it was his fucking stunt double. It wasn't even
the
him.
backflip guy.
It was the backflip guy. I was so let down. I just fucking put my head down, because I built it up. I'd already accepted that I wasn't gonna meet him, and then I was like, oh, here's the chance.
This is my moment.
And then it just immediately goes away, and I was like, fuck.
No, it was interesting, not even to disparage this dude, but he probably didn't even have time to read his lines. So when he was reading his lines, there was someone off camera, and he was like, Kelly, line.
Yeah, all the time.
That?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's hard, man. Especially him. At the time, he was probably shooting like 3 other movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that was when he was in like that hard grind. Let me get every script they throw at me. Let me just do it.
Yeah, he was
and
just
build
hustling.
a body of work. Yeah.
There was what was really cool is after we had shot the scenes, there was that they were doing the green screen stuff with The Rock's face.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was really cool to see. Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, and all of them, even Kevin Hart, he had like just black dots on his face during those scenes, because they CGI'd his face to make him look younger.
I know. The production was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, that like 2 minutes sequence was like 30 hours of filming.
Yeah, 30 hours of filming. They spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yet that didn't make me laugh nearly as hard as like the ice bucket challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
just dumb shit on the internet just makes like a fight compilation or something like that.
There's something to be said about huge budget films though that's still great.
For sure. Yeah.
Like have you seen the new Spider-Man?
I haven't seen the new one. No.
I heard it was dope.
Yeah. I see. I was never a big Marvel guy. I had a buddy like try and get me into it and everything because for me, they were always just so predictable. Like I was like, oh, let me guess. The good guys are about to lose, and then they win.
And they come back.
Yeah, and then they come back and win last minute. Oh, sick. It happened again. So for me, it was like less fun, but then I got into the Marvel franchise a little bit with the Avengers and everything, and that was a little bit better because you did have the downs and ups and downs and stuff like that. But
Did you see Xfinity War?
I did see Xfinity War, yeah. Or Xfinity War?
Infinity War.
Yeah, no, that's the sponsored one by Comcast.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming out on demand. You can get that right now. Xfinity War. You can see them battle AT&T.
Yeah. And you can get a personal hotspot with it.
Exactly.
If you show up to theaters. So, where would you like to take everything for yourself? I always ask this like very generally, like you and I are in some Are you married, by the way?
I'm married, yeah. I've been married for 4 years, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
You've been married since you were 23?
Yeah, 23. Yeah, I just turned 23. We got married, yeah.
How did it go down?
I mean, we met in our senior year of high school, actually.
Oh, it was one of those stories.
Yeah, and we were friends first, and then just kind of started dating.
Started getting intimate.
Yeah, started getting intimate. Started sneaking into her house and stuff like that.
Don't tell her pops though.
Well, it turns out like her brother now lives in the house that they used to live in, and we were like, I wonder if they could hear us sneaking in, because he'd always sneak his girlfriend in too. So half the time I'd be meeting his girlfriend in the yard, and we'd both be like climbing in this window. And then we're like, why don't you go like lay where your parents' bed would, and like let's try and climb in the window. And it is so loud. Like there's no way they didn't know.
Oh, they knew.
They were just cool with it. We met in like marketing class in high school. Then we stayed together through college. She followed me to Westfield to play baseball, and then when I moved to Southern New Hampshire University to play baseball again, she switched to online, and then we just both moved home. I commuted there. She finished up online, and then we got married. 4 years ago.
That's that New Hampshire love.
Yeah, New Hampshire love. It's funny though because I'm married, everyone just assumes I'm like super religious. Like, oh, he's one of 7 kids. He's married. Like on paper, I'm like a perfect Catholic. You know, I just say sorry for when I do bad shit.
Exactly.
And then just keep rolling. But yeah, no, I've been to church probably like 10 times in my life.
Yeah, big pass on church.
Yeah,
no one's rocking with that, bro.
Makes me super uncomfortable, actually. Like
religion does.
Yeah, just like being in a church to realize, like, man, this is just like. Religion to me, especially like Christianity, it feels like the cult that won, right? It feels like they won America for the most part. Like they just took over. They had the best recruiting policy. They got enough people. Oh, anybody can be saved. Come on in, and everybody's in, dude. And they just got them. And then they just ran the country. They're still like the whole abortion thing. That's half the reason is because like there's still religion in the government. It's
everything's
crazy,
tied
man.
in, and there is a strange thing about the Christian religion is like what priests wear. It's like kind of like regalia almost.
Yeah, what makes me super uncomfortable is like I've had to go to a couple funerals recently for some grandparents and stuff like that, and to see everybody just mindlessly say like a prayer. Like they don't even feel it. There's like, Our Father, ba 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 ba, and they're all glazed over, and I'm just in the middle, not knowing. I'm like, whoa, this feels really fucking weird right now.
Amen.
Yeah, dude, it's.
So are you?
And don't get me wrong. Like if you're religious, like I like you can believe whatever you want. Like I don't judge people based on that. It's just that's just how I feel when I go in there. I feel weird about it. Probably because I wasn't indoctrinated into it when I was a kid. Like
never
super
baptized,
hardcore.
never drowned as a baby.
My parents brought me to the wrong church. Like I'm baptized Protestant, and then I didn't do anything else after that.
What? So they drowned you a little bit?
Yeah, they drowned me a little bit. You know, because that's what God would want.
Exactly.
He wants your foreskin, and he wants you to drown a little bit.
Yeah, literally.
And then he'll be happy.
Let's make sure this baby doesn't breathe for a little.
Yeah,
Stick him underwater.
We don't sacrifice humans. That would be barbaric. Instead, we drown you a little bit and cut your dick off.
Know what the wildest shit is the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's kind of near your area too.
A little bit, yeah. I've actually they do a comedy festival up there, like a comedy and spirits festival in Salem.
Around the bog where they used to drown people.
Yeah. It's eerie, dude. It's an eerie feeling to
Do you know what they did?
I mean, I know in general what they did. You seem to be an expert.
This was the test. They said, okay, we think that young lady over there with the crooked nose and who's kind of talking against us. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go over to this bog and we're going to put weights around her ankles and her wrists. And if she comes up when we drown her in this deep bog, then she's a witch. But if she doesn't, we just killed her.
Yeah, that's...
makes no sense.
That's solid logic, bro.
That seems like a win for the church.
I feel like there's still a lot of people that would be like, if you told them that plan, there's probably still a lot of people that'd be like, yeah, I'm on board with that. Like, it's foolproof.
Well, yeah, bro. There's some crazy shit going on with religion right now. Are you familiar with the Scientology religion?
To a point, yeah.
Oh, man, it's wild. Well, they're probably actually listening to us right now.
They're always listening.
They're everywhere.
What's up, Zorp?
Or it's, what's his, Frank, do you know the name of his, the dude who started Scientology?
Oh, dude, I forget.
L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard, yeah.
Dianetics, which is actually a great book.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like a motivational speaker you want in the morning. It is. It's just about like discipline and stuff. So you are totally anti-religion?
I'm not anti-religion. Like I said, I don't look down on people for believing what they want to believe. Whatever gets you through the fucking day. Like if you need something to believe in, like I'm not going to say that there's no God. The universe is too fucking crazy and could possibly be a simulation, but I just don't believe anything hardcore. Like I'd rather just let people do what they're going to do. You let me do what I'm going to do, and we can all have a good day.
Big simulation believer, are you?
Not a big simulation believer, but it could be, right? Totally could be.
Frank is totally against the theory. I'm Frank, you got to at least give it a little thought.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's some law, I forget the name of it, that's like just the odds of us living in a simulation is more likely. Just because if we made one simulation, it would just keep making more and more simulations.
And then we'd just be caught in the simulation.
I'd be down. What if you did? I mean, that'd be kind of cool, right? You die, you just wake up, like you're out of the Matrix, like, oh shit, should I play another round?
Well,
would you play another round? Let's say it is all a simulation, and then you wake up like in the Matrix tank, and they're like, start over?
Well, the way I see it, it's like NBA 2K. It's like a my player, you feel me?
Okay.
And so then like at the start when you're building your player, you can choose certain attributes that you're better at. So like you'd be like a ball handler or you'd be like a playmaker.
You look like a good ball handler, yeah.
Yeah, I am. And you look like a good pitcher and catcher, bro.
Great, both.
So I think like, let's say the simulation ends.
Yeah.
Let's say I was gifted with like, not even a dust my own shoulder. I was gifted with social ability, right?
Sure.
Let's say next time around, I want to be gifted with like the Elon Musk brain.
So you come back as a human? I think I'd come back like I'd do at least one round as like an eagle or like a tiger or some shit. You know what I mean? Like humans is a long time. I'd rather like let me take a break from human after this. Let me go live as an eagle and like catch shit with my feet for like 7 to 12 years, and then we'll go back in line. I like to think of it as like a big Disney ride when you get done. You know, you just get to go wait in line for whatever you want to do next.
So you'd go eagle?
Yeah, I'd probably go something cool like a predator. You know,
eagle's kind of a weak predator.
Eagle's bad, but you can fly.
Yeah, but wouldn't you just do like a peregrine falcon?
I mean,
that's the fastest animal on the planet.
Sure, but you know, I like a challenge. You know,
and you like being stoic.
So you want to come back as Elon Musk? I'd rather come back as like somebody you haven't heard of yet. You know, you got to grind it out.
Oh,
I want to earn it as an eagle. You know.
And the thing about that is like you can choose when the spotlight's on you.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
like you can go isolate yourself, but then you want to come and go swoop up a rat.
Yeah, exactly. Also, how dare you this close to 4th of July say that an eagle is a weak predator? This is America.
An eagle is definitely weak compared to a Siberian tiger.
I'll one-on-one you right now. Next life, you come back Siberian tiger. I'll come back eagle.
No, I'll come back Elon Musk. You just start pecking at my ears.
I'll shit on your fucking Teslas. Yeah. See who's weak now, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Are you a big Elon Musk follower?
I'm not a big follower, but I mean, I'm aware of his work. I know that I think it was yesterday they had a big announcement about his new like Neuralink thing.
I'm unfamiliar.
That's him trying to make everybody cyborgs. Like it's the quote like cell phone replacement kind of thing where we're integrating everything into the human brain. So like instead of going, "Hey Siri, what's the score of the Celtics game?" you would just go, "Okay, I have the score of the Celtics game."
Okay, so like a microchip in your brain,
basically, kind of thing. Yeah, they're really like secretive.
Loading.
Yeah,
right.
They're very like secretive about it. But yeah, that's the idea. He talked about it a little bit when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast about like you're limited by your thumbs or like you're limited by your ability to speak. Like, why not just increase the bandwidth to your brain power? Like, we have way more brain power than we do quickness with our thumbs to like ask a question. So to like open up that ability.
Where was this guy born?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. South Africa, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, he was bullied.
Yeah.
Like, severely bullied.
Yeah, most smart people are.
Were you bullied?
I mean, I'm not smart, but I was one of those kids that like I was getting bullied and didn't realize it until like years later. You know what I mean? Like, I was getting bullied. I was like, these guys are just my friends. You know, and then like years later, I was like, oh yeah, no, that guy was kind of being a dick.
What were they calling you?
I mean, you know, I had a really big head. Like, I got a big forehead, so like people would always make fun of that. I was like a short, scrawny kid, bad haircut.
You're kind of a big dude now, though, right?
Yeah, well, I played baseball, so I grew when I was like in high school too. Like, I was like 5 foot, like and a half for most of high school, and then I just like grew to like 6'2".
And you said, "Fuck all those bullies, man."
Yeah, no, I mean, I never got in like a couple like little fights when I was a kid.
Whoa.
But I mean, it was mostly like one time it was when I was in middle school. I was in 6th grade. This only like real fight that I got in was I was basically defending my friend. There was this kid named Adam Greendyke, which is like he should have been the one getting bullied. And
you got shafted, Adam Greendyke.
Yeah, and he was just bullying my buddy Ben, and I just went and like stood up for him, and the kid
Ben
pushed
Stein?
me. No, I don't even remember his name. I used to live in Seattle, so this was out on the West Coast.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I lived there for like kindergarten through 6th grade, so this is like the year before I left.
Ichiro country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got an Ichiro rookie card. Oh, yeah.
Hold on to it, bro. That's going to be worth a lot.
Yeah, probably not. Nobody cares about baseball cards anymore except for like 8 dudes.
And Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Gary V. There used to be a massive market for baseball cards.
Oh, yeah, man. There was like multiple stores in my town that would like grade and sell your baseball cards and all that stuff. Now I just have like binders full of them just because it was like, dude, cards alone, like not even just Pokemon cards, like everything had a card. Hockey cards, like football cards, like
business cards.
That's what I'm collecting now.
That's that entrepreneurial sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you do you hand them out at your show?
I do, yeah. That was some good advice I got from Dick Doherty when I first started. And he's a guy who used to own clubs in Boston. And then basically quit. Now he just travels the country in like an RV with his wife, like on a retirement, you know.
He was a big Boston comic?
He was, yeah, back in the 70s and stuff like that too. Like he was the guy that would like open up for Aerosmith and shit like that when they'd come through. And
Dick Doherty's quite the classic Boston name.
He is, yeah. Well, dude, there's like 9 comics that call themselves the Godfather of Boston comedy, but I'm like, you know, you guys can all get that title.
Is it like Bobby O'Finnigan?
No, it's
Seamus O'Houlihan.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a bunch. It's all super Irish guys. Yeah, no. So he gave me advice that like, no, even if you're the first guy on the show or you're doing a guest spot, like always stay till the end of the show to say goodbye to the people that are leaving because they'll remember you. And it just gives you that connection. Even if they weren't there to see you, they might feel like they were there to see you. And yeah, you never know who you're gonna meet. I've gotten gigs off staying till the end of the show, meeting with someone that goes, "Hey, I'm trying to do a fundraiser for my kids' sports team, or I want to do this, or I want to do that," and then you end up organizing a whole show and actually making money out of just staying by and saying hello and handing out a business card. So,
have you ever thought of organizing your own show, like your own headliner?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I've done things where I like. I've organized like a couple one-nighters and stuff like that, but like for a consistent weekly show, it's not really my interest. I'd rather be the guy that shows up, does the time, and goes. There's a lot of headaches when it comes to booking a show that.
And you're not a people person.
I'm a people person, but not to the point. Like I know pretty much everybody in Boston comedy unless they're like new. You know what I mean? I've at least come across them once or twice, and it's one of those things that like once you start booking a show, it almost becomes political to the point where people feel like you have to be careful where you do the show, what day of the week you do the show, because then people feel like you're competing with them, or why isn't so and so booking me on my show? I'm not going to book him on why is he booking me on his show? I'm not going to book him on my show, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'd rather be friends with everybody, do everybody's shows, and not have to worry about booking, and then you're just constantly trying to book people and looking ahead, and it takes away from the actual writing and the creative process for me.
So, not to be too invasive, but on a monetization tip and how you've navigated your career, is it the same every year for you, or has it grown just a little bit money wise?
Yeah, it's grown a little bit every year, and this year's definitely my best year so far, just because I started doing colleges this year.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, when I first started, I was working the door at Dick Doherty's clubs. I was making $25 a show to show up early, set up all the chairs, the cards, the candles, take people's tickets and money, seat them, and then go up and do like 5 to 7 minutes, host the show, and then break everything down and go home. So I just started throwing all that money in a box and saving it up, and then you start getting $50 a show to host. Then you start, getting asked to do this club and that club, and I was really focused at the beginning to not get restricted to like one space, and I think that's what's really helped me about not necessarily living in Boston, but whilst navigating the scene, is that I'm able to go and do shows in New Hampshire and Maine, and I'll drive to Rhode Island and do shows. Like I was going to Rhode Island every Sunday to go do this show called Pub on Park when I first started.
Where's that?
It's Cranston.
Cranston.
Yeah. So it was one of those things like just trying to meet as many people as possible, not say no to any opportunities, and just see what happens. You never know dude, I've had so many things that I've almost said no to lead to like huge opportunities in my career. Like I almost didn't do the Boston Comedy Festival the year that I won it. Like I had done it the year before. I didn't have a great experience with it. I applied the last day that I could possibly submit, and then I ended up getting in and I ended up winning it that year. So it's like there's so many things that I almost didn't do that have helped me out. So yeah, definitely just trying to do as much as I can.
That morning you were bumping the motivational speaker.
Yeah.
I gotta get off my ass, man. I just gotta do this thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, it's one of those things that I definitely, my wife has definitely helped me out too with like, there's some nights where I'm just like, man, I don't want to go on stage. I don't want to do this. I just want to stay home. And a lot of that's just the anxiety or the fear talk, especially when you're first starting. I don't have that as much anymore.
So wild you say your wife to me, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, shouts to your wife. It's just like, dude.
It's crazy,
you're
man.
young.
Yeah. No, it's crazy, but honestly.
What were people thinking when you had first gotten married?
They thought I was a religious zealot. They thought I was some kid who, or I had people ask me if it was an arranged marriage or stuff like that, and like
a Russian mail order bride.
Yeah,
type
exactly.
Thing. Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to get someone a green card? Like, no, I'm just.
That's what I'm gonna do to Frank.
Just happy. My bad.
Frank, I'll have you marry into my family. That's how we'll get you citizenship, man.
I know a couple people. The shrug. I love it.
So. On a sitcom tip, what would your sitcom be? Because I feel like it's probably pretty premeditated for you.
I mean, my sitcom, honestly, I don't even think sitcoms are really fucking funny anymore.
Drew's Crew.
Yeah, I don't think I would do a sitcom in a traditional sense because I think they just die and fail.
What were some really good ones?
I mean, I loved How I Met Your Mother. That was a great sitcom.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's a classic.
What's your favorite comedy of all time?
As far as the show?
Series, yeah.
The Office is, of course, one of the best.
I saw Creed Bratton live at the Middle East.
Oh, really?
He has a great set. Dude, did you know he has like #1 Billboard hits? Creed Bratton.
Really?
Before he had started The Office, he was with a band that he had #1 Billboard hits.
No shit.
So his show was like monologues intertwined with his music. It was great.
Oh, that's killer. I didn't even know he did. I met Meredith from The Office. I forget her real name. I was doing the Burbank Comedy Festival, and she was doing like an improv / sketch thing with a guy where they were pretending to be like this singer couple that was just falling apart, and that was really funny. But yeah, man, it's
The Office
nuts.
is your favorite?
Office is a classic for sure. The newer one that I like now is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know if you've seen that show.
Is that Andy Samberg?
Andy Samberg,
and
Terry Crews. Yeah, dude, that's one of those ones that like I've been watching since the beginning, and I'm so glad that it's becoming popular and people are liking it because it's so funny. It's some of the best characters on that show.
Always Sunny.
Always Sunny's great. Yeah. I grew up watching Always Sunny in high school and stuff like that. I've faded away from it recently, but I should get back into it because I love that show.
Have you ever seen Arrested Development?
No, I haven't. It's one of those ones I always see on like Netflix or something like that, and I just scroll past. I just never have watched the first episode, but I'd probably like it.
I'd be very curious to see what you think about it because the comedy is so calculated, and the whole show it builds purely based off inside jokes, similar to The Office, but it's like very, very subliminal. So I wonder how comedians take it in.
Yeah, I'd have to watch it. And then speaking of The Office, Parks and Recreation is a classic too. Yeah, those types of shows are just super funny.
Any of the movies spawning from some of the actors in these shows you like, or?
Dude, I'm so bad with like remembering names.
Like Evan Almighty.
Evan Almighty. I mean, I loved Bruce Almighty when it first came out. I'm a big Jim Carrey fan for sure.
The GOAT.
Yeah, Jim Carrey is just great, man.
The GOAT.
So good at character. So good at just like he's one of those guys that makes you forget you're watching a movie. Like that's what makes good movie. But for me, that's what makes good movie and TV, and what makes so many of these sitcoms shitty is like it feels like a bad sitcom makes you feel like you're watching TV. When you're watching a good movie or a good sitcom, you forget and you're just staring and you're enveloped in the story or the character or whatever it is. And Jim Carrey was so good at that, just making you forget.
He carried plots through so well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
he was a grinder too, man. Have you heard his story?
Yeah, where he was like on his last length, living out of his car, and then he got the
he
deal
wrote himself a check and kept it in his wallet for 7 years.
Yeah.
He said he was going to get a check for like $10 million in 5 years, and he just kept a blank check in his wallet, and it just like tethered and tore. Yeah. And then he ended up getting a $10 million check in 7 years.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's one of those dudes that I wish still did stand-up comedy, because he had such a fun. I don't know if you've ever seen the stand-up special that he did back in the day.
I saw it in Living Color.
In Living Color is great, dude, but then his stand-up special he did, I believe it was after In Living Color, was so fucking funny. And I think that was the last piece of work stand-up wise that he really put out, and then he just started focus on comedic acting, which of course great, but he's one of those dudes that I'm like, man, I wonder what like a Jim Carrey comedy special would look like today. No. Although now that I've seen him on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, he's like very prolific and very like artist and centered and stuff like that. So but he is coming out. He's in a movie now, isn't he? He's in the new Sonic movie. He's playing
Sonic the Hedgehog as a movie?
He's playing Dr. Eggman in the
no
new
way.
Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, that seems
like a good character for him.
Yeah, for sure. Just wacky and kooky.
Like the Grinch kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He like Ace Ventura is such a good movie, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. I talked out of my butt for like 5 years.
Oh yeah, literally. It was such a hit. What else? The Mask was really good.
Yeah, The Mask. Dude, there's so many good ones. Definitely Bruce Almighty. Definitely, what was the one he did after that?
Liar, Liar.
Yeah, Liar. Yeah, and then he started doing more dramatic ones and everything like that. Which I think every actor.
Something About Mary.
Something About Mary too. Which
no. Excuse me.
No, that wasn't
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Me, Myself, and Irene. Yeah, I love that. I love that movie too. That was one of those ones that like Steve Sweeney and Lenny Clark and all those guys are in. Steve Sweeney plays his next door neighbor on Me, Myself, and Irene. The guy that like he goes and shits on his lawn. That's Steve Sweeney.
The priest in Me, Myself, and Irene in that first scene was my film professor at Providence College.
No shit.
He's the nicest dude of all time. Shout out to Father Gumbert. I'll send this to you, man. I hope you're still priesting it up. Sorry, we're disparaging your religion.
Just skip through that whole religion part from earlier.
He's actually a really interesting guy. That'll be for another time. Yeah. I should just get him up here. That's what we'll do. So what interests you in terms of what's going on in the city right now?
I mean, I just love how much stand-up comedy is happening right now. There's multiple shows 7 days a week.
Frank it clicked.
There's
Frank. Okay.
There's people that there's just so many ways to get better, and that's what Boston's always been. It's always been the development grounds of some of the best stand-up comics that are out there. Bill Burr, Louis, Joe Rogan, all those guys started in Boston and then went either through New York or right to LA.
Why does that keep happening though?
It keeps happening because I think there's some really just fucking funny people here. I think the culture here is based around
why
comedy.
Do people leave?
People leave because there's no industry here. There's no late night scouts at the comedy clubs. There's no
money.
There's no. I mean, there's enough money. If you want to travel around New England and work up a following in New England, you can make like a good teacher's salary doing comedy, maybe a little more. Like especially like I started doing colleges. Like colleges, there's a lot of good money in those. But there's no real like national spotlight. But even like I didn't think I was going to be able to get even some of the showcases that I've had in Boston. I thought I was going to have to move to New York, like play things like Just for Laughs, Comedy Central, and like the Big Sky Comedy Festival. Things that get you in front of industry have started doing showcases in Boston as of late. Just because there's a ton of really funny comics that are here, and like a Boston comic, one Big Sky, Corey Rodriguez is a dude.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
Are you guys boys?
Yeah. No, he's a great guy. He's a super funny comic.
Frank, you okay? Are you hot? Do you want me to turn the AC back on?
If you want to, yeah. If it's not gonna mess up the sound.
It's probably gonna absolutely obliterate the sound, so we can't.
I mean, I'm good.
That water's for you, by the way.
I'll get glistening. Yeah, I still got my Dunk's coffee, Dunkin' Donuts. I know you're a Starbucks guy, but
I'm both. I know it's Can't play for two teams.
No, you can.
Can't. Oh yeah, you pitch and catch.
In the coffee game, you can pitch and catch all you want. Yeah.
Shout out to Dunks.
Yeah.
And shout out to Starbucks.
I don't like that they're changing it just to Dunkin' though.
I think it's smart branding.
I don't know. I'd rather if you're gonna change it to something shorter, it should just be Dunks.
Well, when you texted your wife this morning saying, "Hey, before I go on this podcast, I'm gonna go to what?" You didn't say Dunkin' Donuts. You said I'm gonna go to
Dunks.
Dunks. You said
I'm gonna go to Dunks before I go to the podcast.
I'm gonna go to that Dunks in Nashville, right next to that motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
New Hampshire is a zoo, man.
New Hampshire is, but Nashua is like Massachusetts spillover. Like, Nashua is one of those places that got voted best place to live like 2 years in a row.
Oh,
like
don't lie to me.
No, in early 2000s it did. And then everybody from like Lowell and Lawrence just moved up Route 3 and moved to Nashua. Like, the population's like doubled or tripled over the last 15 years.
Because that rent.
And it doesn't feel like you're in the woods. It feels like you're pretty much in Massachusetts. Then you go like 20 minutes up, and you're like, oh, there's a NASCAR track here.
That's New Hampshire, New Hampshire.
Then you get up to real. Like, when you called me when I was in Newport, New Hampshire, I was in fucking New Hampshire. I was like, dude, I can smell the incest in this town. Like, everybody's walking with a limp. Everybody's got some sort of weird look on their face. They all look uncomfortable.
All these old dudes have cutoffs on with one tattoo on their right bicep.
Yeah, dude, there's some crazy spots in New Hampshire, but then like there's also just some places that just feel normal, like even Manchester's like the biggest city in New Hampshire, mostly known for its heroin problem, like, you know what I mean, just like any city is nowadays.
Any off-season beach town in Massachusetts, same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah. Crazy.
But what's the deal with New Hampshire, man?
As far as what?
Like Massachusetts people, the general scope and consensus of New Hampshire is like, what is that place?
Yeah, I mean, it's
what is going on up there?
It used to be called God's Country. That's what people in Massachusetts would refer to, because it's like some super religious zealots and stuff like that.
Frank, for reference, New Hampshire. So Massachusetts is known for, like, you know,
Dunkin' Donuts,
but the country started here.
Yeah,
and Boston, this big financial hub, and this innovative city.
Yeah.
And New Hampshire is known for having a rock that has a face that's slightly, the rock formation slightly resembles a face,
and it's not even there anymore. It fell down like 25 years ago. It's not even there, and it's still on. Like, that's the symbol for like the state route sign. It's like the man on the mountain and everything like that. A lot of people go there to vacation. Like, there's the lake region and the mountains, skiing, snowboarding, stuff like that. That's the good thing about Nashua is I live. Like, I can get to Boston. Like, I got here in like 35 minutes today, and I can also get to the beach in like 40 minutes, and I can go to the mountains in 40 minutes. Like, I'm centered to like everything I could possibly want to do.
You were meant to be an eagle.
Yeah, I am. I can just soar around. Yeah, but it's great for comedy, because I'm like, anytime I'm driving to Boston, I'm going the opposite way of traffic. Where if somebody in Boston wants to come up to New Hampshire to do a show, they're gonna have to leave an extra hour early to fight all the rush hour traffic of people coming back and all that stuff. So it's been a good spot. I mean, I even like going to New York. I'm 3.5-4 hours away from New York City, so I go there like once every few months just to
do gigs.
Yeah, do gigs. Just do, people that I've met in Boston, go do their shows and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I'm having a blast, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Before we totally move on, Frank, do you have a water? I want to make sure you're not getting too antsy back there. You doing okay? Yeah. I mean, you can take as many sips as you want, man. Also, these are for you.
Oh, hell yeah. I've been playing with this the whole time. It's probably everyone's been watching.
Little ADHD. What would kids do in New Hampshire growing up?
I mean, I moved there going into 7th grade.
So you were right in like porn. That's like the porn era and like Axe spray era.
Yeah, definitely Axe body spray. Definitely.
You were rocking the Axe chocolate.
No, I never did the chocolate. I felt like that was cultural appropriation. No,
it was the most poignant smell.
It was, dude, there's so many of them. The only thing that Axe does now is it covers up the smell of weed really well. That's a quick note.
Oh, so you would be smoking the Blizz in the back?
And not when I was that young, but like that's what I use it for now. Like I still have a can of Axe body spray in my car.
No way.
Yeah, you got to get rid of it. That's the only thing that covers it up. It's the only thing strong enough to get rid of that smell.
How old were you when you first smoked?
I was probably 17, I think.
Oh, so you're kind of late.
Yeah, I was late. I was one of the dudes that I was hanging out with everybody that was smoking weed, but I wouldn't smoke. My parents had drilled it in my head that it's like bad, evil, like all the stuff that parents should say about drugs. And then I just kind of one day I was just wanted to do it, and I just
bored as hell.
Yeah, I was having a party at my house. Shout out to my dad if he's watching right now.
So you were drinking before?
Very lightly. I'd have like a couple beers here and there, like with the baseball team and stuff like that. Like right when we lost in the playoffs, like we all skipped school and had a couple beers and stuff like that.
Real quick.
Yeah. And I smoked weed for the first time, and then I would do it like very intermittently until I got older. Then once I was in college and after college is when I really started smoking a little bit more consistently.
Are you ever high on stage?
Very rarely. I like to be totally sober on stage. That was something I was pretty conscious of when I first started, was that I didn't want to be reliant on any, I didn't want to have a beer to get on stage and be comfortable. You know what I mean?
Here they go.
Hey there, Instagram. Yeah, I didn't want to be, I didn't want to have to like, oh shit, I don't have my beer, I don't feel comfortable. Like I wanted to be able to go on stage, be totally sober, embrace the nerves and just get through it and get better and better at dealing with it.
Does booze ever help?
I mean, it definitely helps, but it's also a crutch. You know what I mean? Like if you have a couple beers, you won't feel as nervous about going on stage and talking to people. But if you just get used to feeling nervous and overcome that, then I think you get better and better.
Yeah, just like anything.
Yeah, for sure. You just have to push through that initial like uncomfortableness and know that it's supposed to be like that. Like the metaphor I always use for stand-up is like when you first start doing stand-up comedy, you become a totally different person. The second that your name gets called, you go on stage and you're standing in front of the microphone, your brain goes blank. You're not yourself anymore. Now you're just trying to like...
You're performing.
You're trying to do the thing that you practiced or try and be funny. And then you get off stage and you're back to feeling normal. The goal is to make those two people mesh into one, where you start to become a comedian all the time, where you're a funny person, but also you can be yourself on stage and not have to feel like you're putting on a play.
Have you ever like really said something disrespectful on accident? Like everyone.
Are you asking me if I said the N-word on stage before?
Did you say it?
No.
Well, has there ever been a moment where you like really bombed one bad and everyone was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" No,
because like I said, man, if I you can sense the crowd. Like if you're going, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've bombed. You should bomb. It's important to not have things go well, but an important skill too is to be good at bombing. To be able to have a joke not go well, not have the crowd lose total trust in you, and then be able to move on. So, I mean, like a formula for me to like try a new joke or even something edgy is to do a joke that I know works, do the joke that I don't know works, the new thing, and then end with a joke that I know works. That way I can get not only a good gauge of how well that middle joke works based off of the other jokes that I did, but also just to prove to the crowd, okay, the crowd trusts me, I'm funny. Now let's try the thing I want to try, and if they didn't like it, hey, I'm funny, you know. And then you leave with having worked on something and without having feel like you're a total piece of shit.
But there's never been a time like, oh.
I mean, I've felt that feeling, but I don't go out and try things that I think are like disrespectful like that or too outlandish. Don't get me wrong. There's probably been individuals in the crowd that have felt that towards something that I've said. But as a total like crowd consensus, I've never had everybody go like, wow, that's really fucked up. You shouldn't say that. Because I'm usually pretty aware that I shouldn't say something. Once you say it out loud the first time, and that's usually what I do, is I usually sit in front of my computer with a microphone, hit record, and then I'll just talk out a new idea. And when you say it out loud, you can realize if you're saying fucked up shit. When you're writing it, you don't always know if it's fucked up or not. Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I feel like at some point, though, you're going to just like push the limits, though.
For sure. No, you have to, for sure. But I think it's important to know where to push the limits, and what's important to me to talk about isn't necessarily something that's going to like make people super upset. Like I do accents, like that one accent is one of a bunch of different that I do. So
can you give me another?
Yeah, like I can do another one for you right now. You know, like the Indian accent is like a lot of people probably like, hey, white guy can't do it, you know. But you can if you have a problem.
That's a Verizon customer service right there, boy.
See, that's the problem right there. You go right to like I think it's okay to do those accents if you stay away from stereotypes, right? You know what I mean? Like if I was like, hey, I work at 7-Eleven, like people would be like, oh, that's fucked up. But if like I do a bit where I talk about people just saying that I'm in an arranged marriage, and then I do a full like fake commercial essentially with the Indian voice, and so I have to like find a way.
That was really spot on though.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean accents are kind of my deal. You know what I mean? Like you could go down under. You want to go to Australia, mate? We could go right there. Absolutely, mate. I can show you around. It's a lot of things you got to be careful of.
Like what?
Out like this. Venomous snakes all over the place.
And you got to make sure you wear your protective gear.
Absolutely right. Protective gear is absolutely vital to you surviving out in this bush. Absolutely right. Essential.
What else you got in the vault?
I
got a Mario.
Yahoo! Yeah, woohoo! Whoa!
It'll making me queasy.
Oh, it's me, Mario. Hello.
Classic games.
Yeah, of course. I'm a big gamer too. I love fucking playing games and shit. But yeah, I mean, you have an English accent, of course, natural and normal, and then you have a bit more of like up and down, like it's a different region of England, and then you could go down to Scotland if you'd like. Have you ever been to Scotland, lad?
What about Ireland?
Have you seen the rolling hills? Well, you could go to Ireland as well. That's a bit more high pitch, and maybe, you know, there's a lot of different types of Irish accents, though. You know, you could go to Northern Ireland, where it's a bit more like tat with the end of your sentences. And I'm sure there's somebody going at home like, that's inaccurate. Like, I don't research. I just do voices.
Off the ear.
Yeah, I just fuck around. Like, anybody who's like, technically they would pronounce that as this. I'm just, I don't give a fuck.
Me and my friends are trying to. My friends, if they listen, where is this accent from? I have the most comprehensive grading system.
That sounds like Dracula. That's like a Transylvanian accent.
But it is pretty close to Russian.
Your smell's intoxicating.
See, it's the squeak that turns it into like vampire cartoon. But if you stay low and frown, this is key to Russian accent, is to frown and be upset with cold.
Life.
Yeah, then you could go to Germany as well. Since we're already over there, why not take a peek around the corner to see who's there? Looks like it's me.
And then you could go over to China.
Yeah, you could go to China too. Don't worry, I'm not going to say anything offensive. Okay, sorry, Frank. Probably not even a Chinese accent. It's just
that's a dumb one.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, you got some spot-on accents, brother.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, it's kind of my deal. I think that's what's helped to like separate me, especially in like a lot of these competitions that I've done, like the Boston Comedy Festival, the Seattle International Festival. It helped me to like stand out because I have the jokes and the voices rather than just like one or the other. There's a lot of guys that do impressions. They really rely on that, or they set them up like they're an impression. Like, wouldn't it be funny if a Chinese guy and an Indian guy were going to McDonald's? What would that be like? And then they just start doing the bit, like, where me, I try and like catch people by surprise and just do them out of nowhere so they don't have a chance to like judge it before.
Your bit off rip. That's how you started.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name again? Nigel?
David Attenborough.
Oh, yeah,
no,
David
no, you're
Attenborough.
Thinking of Nigel Thornberry's Animal World.
You ever seen the Thornberrys, Frank? It was this classic Nickelodeon show.
Yeah,
and
classic.
And they had a kid named Donnie who was a barbarian.
Yeah, he was like the kid who was lost in the woods kind of thing, and then they found him and raised him, and they never taught him English.
Well, I thought he was a biological kid and he was just raised by monkeys.
I don't know what it was. No, didn't they say they found well, the intro was Donnie, we found him, and Darwin, he found us, which was the monkey or something like that. Darwin was the monkey friend that she had.
What a stereotypical name for a monkey.
Yeah,
Darwin.
It's kind of lame.
Come on, man.
But back then it was revolutionary. People didn't really believe in Darwin yet, you know.
Well, so I have a friend I call Donnie Thornberry. He thinks it's like the most disrespectful thing of all time.
Yeah, it's a
but
little bit.
but dude, it's some famous band member does the voice for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually gotta look that up real quick.
Famous band member does that voice? I feel like they could have got any like 12-year-old to do that voice and saved a bunch of money.
I think it might be. Are you big into rock?
A little bit, but dude, I'm so bad at like following things and knowing people's names that like if you played a song, I would know it, but if you were like, "Who's that by?" I'd be like, "The people that play it." That's who.
Let me find it real quick. Flea from. Who's this guy in the band of? This does
Dude, he
look
looks
the voice
like
of
Donnie Thornberry.
Yeah. What's this dude in? Flea, musician. Oh, he was the bassist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, okay. Oh, no shit.
Curveball.
Fun fact. That'll be on the Golden Deer Productions trivia that we have at the end of the month.
That'd be great. We should do a trivia show. I would love to organize a big comedy show.
Yeah.
So I do, outside of this, I do a bunch of events. So I would love, that'd be fun.
Yeah, man. Let me know. I can help you get some good people.
And you know what I would like to do? I'll talk about you after, but there's a bunch of social media influencers I'm friends with in the city that I think you could definitely do some work with, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so listen, we got to wrap it up. But
All right.
hey, I had a great time.
Yeah, man, me too. It's good talking to you.
So this is how we start and end the show. You say, hi, your name, and this is my golden hour. Directly after no break, you say, hi, your name, and that was my golden hour.
Okay.
You think you got that down?
I think so. I think
You're
I can
a
nail it.
comic. You got to be intellectual,
Yeah.
man.
Hi, I'm Drew Dunn, and this is my golden hour. Hi, I'm Drew Dunn, and that was my golden hour.
Is this camera okay?
I think I fucking nailed it, bro.
Can I be honest with you, bro? We might have like a 4% success rate on people ending the show, so that was great. Frank, tell me when.